I'm digging this play right here by Kentucky. I mean, we get the shift on. Nobody moves. They've been very disciplined. I'm sure worked on that all week. But what we're going to get right here is we're going to get 5 counter action with your quarterback reading the in-man on the line of scrimmage from where the tackle is leaving from. Watch how the guard and tackle pull for like counter tray. Now what Vandagriff is doing is reading the in-man on line of scrimmage. If the in-man on line of scrimmage really squeezes down, or whoever should be like over the top of the tackle, we don't have anybody there because we're apex with Shamlis out on the number 2 receiver. So C.J. Allen is widening out, become really your C-gap defender. They have nobody to read here. Christian Miller is about the closest thing they can read to it, and so that's what Vandagriff is reading. He sees him squeeze, it's an automatic give. Now, what would happen in this case scenario is you see 84 stepping out to the hole defender. If you had an in-man on line of scrimmage that feels that stress of the going wide, and he widens with that and takes the jet back off this stretch motion right here, now Vandagriff is going to pull and follow his guard and his tackle on counter tray right here. So this is a Q counter tray flash right is what I'd call this. Is just stretch to the right here. And it's a pretty good read. I really dig what I see up front. If you look at TID on the left-hand side, not only does he try to take the down and gives a good swim to get over the top of it, now he's got to take on a guard pulling and bam, takes that on. I really like what Christian Miller does here, being able to get off his block and be facing it up so he makes him give and not pull right there and then get down the line of scrimmage. And my boy Nazir trying to work over the top of that stunt. He gets pushed into the play, but I love to see his big ass running down the line of scrimmage right there and getting after the football. We got everybody contained right here, so we have no run support from our safety. So this is Chambliss. Chambliss has got to be the one. This is the difference that's blowing me away with the hole defender right here. You got, as strong as that kid is, he's got to take 84 and manhandle his ass and move him, push him, pull him. I don't care. Keep your outside shoulder free, but don't just sit there and stay blocked. Get him off like he tries to do there at the very end. But see, he already should be knocking 84 back towards 10 right now to make him have to make a cut quicker. The longer he can set up his cut, the more room he has advantage to get through there and squirt 3. But still, though, we get good scrape from C.J. Allen. Moving over the top, we got Nazir covering it from the inside. And, of course, Shamlis does his job to turn it back inside, but it's still one of those where I would love to see him do a little bit more with 84 here, all right? But still, just a tackle for a short gain off of this right here. But I like this concept using Brock Vandagriff with primary running back on the counter tray. Okay, I'm going to give my defense some love here. We're going to run our typical X stunt, but we're going to do it with 3 down linemen, so TID ends up becoming your guy coming across on this X stunt right here. You got Nazir Stackhouse at the 0 going across to our left, across 75 to 73. TID is going to X off that. CJ is going to X into 52 to occupy. And it's like TID figures out, like, holy crap, there's a hole. He waits too late to jet. All right, he's got to get up in there quicker. But still, him and Christian Miller doing a great job. Christian Miller's over the top of number 54. He's that 4-eye on the right-hand side. Does a great job of getting off that block. So you got TID and Christian Miller creating a havoc play right here to flush him out of the pocket. CJ Allen gets through late. Everybody in covers looks like a cover 3 match because I see Malachi starts coming downhill and Smiles retracing yet because they had run to support. They realize it's play action. They got to retrace their steps. And we got mesh coming, so that's perfect. They look like geniuses on their retrace to get back to their zone defender and get to their spot on the trace. You can see the cover 3 over the top that's matching it. Humphreys and Jackson are working on the left side. And you see Dalen Everett back on the 50-yard line. Working anything vertical to him. So we got everything covered up. So now we flushed because we created havoc with that X stunt. But I want you to watch Nazir Stackhouse, my boy. I've been talking about him. He's at the 0 technique. All he is a gap filler right here so the X stunt can come behind him. He's getting held right there. He's getting his face mask tugged on. Doesn't get caught, of course. And then eventually he's going to realize once he gets flushed, I want you to watch this big ass get down the line of scrimmage and go make this tackle. Guys, this is a 3rd and 1. This is a big play for him to go knock him out of bounds right here and not convert the first down. This is Nazir Stackhouse on Brock Vandagriff. I want you to watch it all the way from the beginning, from the 0 technique. Watch him cut across, stay blocked for a second, get held, get a face mask, hands on, and then get down the line of scrimmage and make the tackle on Brock. Yeah, wow. Good job. I could sit here and talk to you about this play forever, and it's because Kentucky runs it very well, but we have a great blitz off of this. They destroy one of our gap schemes later on in the game. We destroy one of their gap schemes here in the game. We're about to get ghost power to the left, where you're going to have the guard, right guard, and the H-back pulling to the left side, which means your left tackle, your left guard, and your center are all going to be blocking back. And in this case, because of the way the position is run, they're going to triple team Nazir Stackhouse. And honestly, I don't know why they don't put him into some kind of submarine and just make a big pile of putty there where he's almost at, instead of continually getting blown out by 3 guys. But I know they talk about splitting double teams, but I don't know what they do to triple teams, and that's what happens right here. So what you're going to have happen is Damon Wilson's going to come off the edge. Tiernan Ingram Dawkins is running an X stunt, and I'm glad they've got this stunt pulled to it because they're bringing it right where the guard and the H is leaving from. So right now, because of that X stunt by Damon Wilson and Tiernan Ingram Dawkins, they have completely screwed up the gap scheme. Now, I'm going to rewind it because what I want to show you is still play side and how it's run, because when you have a play that's screwed up by the actual blitz, they call something into it like we do here, I still want to see how the gap scheme is executed. So the first thing I want to see is Xavier McLeod. He's at your left 4-eye right now. All right, now he's going to take the down block, and he doesn't do a very good job of squeezing that down, and that allows a free release to end up being a triple team on Nazir. Right now he's got 3 hats on his body, and he's going to get driven back almost to Jalen right now. A good end that knows he might have down block has got to squeeze the piss out of that and then be ready to take on a flathead that's coming to him, which is the guard. It should be a train wreck in slow motion right there. But if he squeezes the down, you think about it, that's going to condense him down almost a full man. Okay, and it doesn't allow that tackle to a free release on the down block too. So then that allows him to attack the guard on the inside shoulder and make it bounce, which is what you want to do to gap scheme, is bounce. What they want to do is kick you out and hit up underneath that. So what I want to do here is I want to hit that on the inside shoulder, and I want to hit it hard to reduce the gap so that Raylan can fit his hat on the outside instead of right where he's at. Now let's take Tiernan Ingram Dawkins and Damon Wilson out of the play. Right now, if he's not there, I think they've got a good play to this because of that triple team that's leading up to the backside backer. I always said when you run gap scheme correctly, counter trade, ghost power, whatever it may be, that if you can double team the down lineman's ass into the backside backer, you've got a great play. And right now they've done that to Jalen Walker. Now it's a triple team, and Nazir's taking it like a man. Pause. But still, that triple team is taking him to the backside backer, and now Jalen is blocked by that complete triple team that's going on to Nazir. He's being absolutely abused. Now, Jalen's path should always be over the top of a double team, in this case a triple team. If he goes underneath, he's screwed. So right now, that one step he took inside to peak, he's screwed. That's too much time to not allow him to get back over the top. Jalen's got to learn to work over the top of that double team. If he does, now he can fit outside where Raylan has fit inside. But realistically, if McLeod does his job and squeezes the down and blows that ass up right there and makes it bubble outside, Raylan's hat should be fitting outside to 85, and Jalen now working over the top of that double team should be fitting his hat where Raylan is at right now for that fit. So you have all the gaps fit. And I don't know, I sit there and think if Damon Wilson's not there and McLeod's kind of being held up, that if he bounces that outside without Damon being there, I don't know if McLeod gets to him, and I don't think Raylan will be chasing him too. So they would probably have a little bit of a better play than what they have right now. But still, though, I like the way that it's blocked up front, and everything play side looks really good. Jalen's got to work on getting over the top of that double team. Raylan doesn't need to stick his hat inside. And McLeod, if he's going to be that position right there at that 4-eye, he's going to have to start learning how to take on that down block and kicking out that guard to blow him up to make it bounce right there. But, luckily we have a good fire blitz off the eggs here, off the backside edge here, and we stop it in the backfield. I think it's a little frustrating. We got a 2nd and 11 play right here, and we're running a little fire blitz stunt right here where you can see Nazir working out from, the head-up position all the way out into a big gap, and Raylan's firing down through, which is supposed to set up Jalen to be in the hole, which is where he's at. He's unblocked. He's fitting right there. Now, Raylan, something that he has truly improved upon is getting off blocks. Instead of just occupying the gap, sort of like what Nazir's doing right now, just getting washed out by what he's doing, it's supposed to open this up to Jalen. But Raylan has also beat the block. So he is inside. So right now you got 2 guys stacked on one another. And I would say Raylan Wilson and Jalen Walker on 0. Right now the line of scrimmage is right where Raylan's feet are at. And this is what's so frustrating when it comes to defensive play right here that would drive me insane. McLeod, you need to work on keeping your balance there, kid. You're coming down on that. I think TID is doing a pretty good job of maintaining a little bit of leverage there as well. And you got Dan Jackson filling back up inside off Nazir being, again, triple teamed outside here. It's like I think they like Nazir a lot. I think they're going steady now. But you got to work on the buddy system right here. He makes this cut. Raylan has beat right now, because Raylan has stuck his head inside because he's a little bit off trying to get off that block and get reset. So I can understand him being a little bit off balance here. But this is where, you make a tackle by two guys at the line of scrimmage and drive him back. But this little guy right here not only beats Raylan off of it, he sheds him. Jalen also. This is just straight up cloudy clear drill right here. You got to fit that hat across to the ball and run him out of there. Now you're grabbing him from behind and hurricaning him to try to bring him to the ground, and you're sliding off of him because you've left your feet. So you're trying to use your body weight to pull him down, and because, sweat and it's wet out there, you slide right down his legs, and you almost let go of him too, and Dan ends up having to come in to finish him off. But, kudos for Jalen hanging on right here. But this is just the frustration that I think we saw from the defense a lot, where we had the right stunts put into the gap, but we got to finish and make plays right there. I mean, that's what obviously Coach Schuman, I'm sure, is preaching to his guys right now as well. We talk about defensively. I know we had a pretty good night. I mean, we still haven't allowed a touchdown, for crying out loud. So there's good things that we're doing. In fact, to tell you the honest truth, I think University of Kentucky's offense on the other side of the 50, on our side of the 50, I think they average like 1.6 yards a play. I mean, granted, guys, I'm cherry picking right here, but I mean, still, this is a good form fit where you stop them for no gain or possibly even a loss of a yard because you buddy tackle correctly right here off this fit, because we have the right stunt fit for what they're running right here on the split zone look. I'm pretty pleased with this effort right here. This is just straight drop back, and, Vandagriff makes a great throw. We're in cover one. So everybody's manned up except for KJ Bolden, who's free over the top of the UK symbol right now. But, this is just a great throw and catch in anticipation of Brock making that is a very difficult throw from the left hash all the way across the field on an out route. This is what you want to show as a quarterback on your game film to a coach that you're wanting to recruit you right here. I mean, this is a game-level throw right here by him. And, with that being said, he never even come close to making that completion against South Carolina the previous week. It just goes to show this guy was comfortable in the pocket. I think he felt confident against Georgia's defense because he's played it so much. He knew what they were going to bring, but he also knew what he could do to exploit them as well. You don't think he was talking to the offensive coordinator all week long about ways that they can exploit different things to their defense when he knows they line up in certain offensive formations? I'm certain that he did. They at least had 5 to 6, I'm sure, that they worked with. So, it's complete. Malachi Stark's our best guy. We're in nickel coverage here with a cover one. KJ's out on the field, so obviously Malachi is your star, and then you got Dan Jackson as your strong safety taking care of number 2. What I want to watch is the front. I really like what I see out of Kristen Miller right here coming off this X stunt. So, again, you just got 2 X stunts running. Raylan's going to peel off at the end and be a zone defender in the middle of the field, kind of a spot of the quarterback in case he gets flushed, which I like right here. So this is a 4-man pressure. Good throw and catch. But I still like the fact that we're working off of our X stunts and we're trying to get to the ball. Kristen Miller busted his butt all night long, and I really want to give him some props for how well he played considering the amount of snaps that he had to accrue on Saturday night. So good job with 52 right here. Not a bad job, even though it was a good passing catch. Guys, this thing is a thing of beauty. Gabe Harris, man, you are really beginning to make me be very impressed with your ability coming from the 4-eye position, your body, your style, which should be an outside linebacker frame, but you're playing from basically the inside tackle position right here to be able to cross this gap so that you can get the straight-ahead blitz by C.J. Allen. I used to call this a tank blitz, where you would take the 3 technique and cross the guard's face to occupy to bring your backer through B gap, and now Gabe is in A gap. But I love the delay bringing the X stunt from the wheel backer too. So now you got the triangle of Gabe beating his guy just because he's so much more athletic than that old goofy ass guard right there. Gets across his face and beats him off the tackle. CJ has to take on the block because of the pass pro by Zero taking him as next threat. There's nobody for Smile. So now Gabe getting off, Gabe causes this a problem right here, but Smile would have been a problem with it as well. And it's so funny that he makes him fumble right here. But I just love this stunt. This is a beautiful stunt. It's just a thing of poetry watching it happen because you still have all gaps contained. So if you look at this, Gabe comes across an A gap, CJ's your B gap defender. There comes your extra blitz straight up the middle, up the midline, and you still got your C gaps and B gaps defended with your tackles and your jack. So just a beautiful thing. That's the reason why when you fire correctly and you maintain gap integrity, you can still run it and be sound to it, and you still have nowhere to go with it. But just watching the three guys right here with Gabe and Smile and CJ is just a thing of beauty. Gabe, I love you, buddy. This is such good stuff from their defense right here and what they're doing up front. First off, I want to show you Jalen Walker and Gabe Harris, man, are almost illegal up here on the left side running the X stunt right here. Guys, this is going to get home eventually. Gabe is doing such a great job of running that hoop right there and getting skinny, dipping underneath. He almost gets to Brock before the ball is thrown. But during this entire time, Smile looks like he's outside, and realistically, if they had snapped the ball from right here, they would have run the same covers that they have. But Janelle Aguero, that's in there with C.J. Allen at the linebacker depth, would be doing what Smile's doing to the other side. But because he comes in motion, now Smile walks like he's coming off the edge, but you end up trapping that because Janelle's going to take the guy man. So we're running like a cover 3 match here, which is really cool. All right, so you got a flat defender into the boundary, which is Smile. You've got your 2 middle hook guys, which is Malachi Starks because he's worked down from the safety position. That's why I run it 3 match right here. And you got Humphreys, and you got your free safety, strong safety in Dan Jackson over the top, and then Dalen Everett is working the vertical on the other side. So we got thirds of the field. Aguero's running with the 1 guy in motion. So you've got 1 guy matched up. The rest of us are running basically a cover 3 into the boundary right here. I mean, this is just sweet stuff. I mean, just to sit there and look what you've got. Because right now they're showing more of a cover 2 look, possibly a cover 4. I mean, when you see a 2 high safety look, you just don't know. It could be 4, it could be 2. They could be running 4 match. They could be doing anything that is not what they're actually showing. So when you get the motion, Smile plays a game right here. This is awesome. They think he's coming, and then he ends up peeling off at the last second. Aguero takes that 1 guy man. So all you got to do now is defend those 3 guys in the pass route with roughly the other 6 that you have in pass coverage, and that should be, we got everything matched up here perfectly. Now I don't know if this is something they knew from scheme, from the boundary, and what they have here out of trips, which is just trips Ricky, Liz motion, and getting this, but this is just cool to see and watching because you can see the entire secondary on this cut right here, watching them move from one side to the other with the motion and making that 1 minor adjustment with Janelle, and then running a cover 3 match out of this is just really sweet. He has to dump it to the flat route. Smile comes up, makes the tackle. Brock didn't make this throw against South Carolina, but he makes it against us, and he makes it look really nice. They're in a ace Lucy package where you've got the H-back off the tackle to this side. So you got a 2x2 set. You got 3 receivers in the game. And they're going to bring Liz motion by their Z across. And what they do out of this is Janelle Aguero and Malachi Stark sort of change their roles here. So what happens, Malachi's going to take the vert off of this, and they know that they've got a flat defender in Humphreys over on that side. So they're basically playing a cover 2 to the left side. So you've got a zone high defender plus Malachi's bracketing the inside hip. Humphreys is bracketing the outside hip and can put his foot in the ground, T-step, and get up to the jet back if he throws it to him on the option. Now, because Janelle Aguero's guy goes across and they switch responsibilities, now he can come down and be a force flat defender. Him and Raylan are basically doing that on both sides. It looks like we have some kind of fire to the short side of the field because I'll watch all the defensive linemen going down. So what we're doing out of that, you'll notice C.J. Allen has a natural progression to move oppo to the way the D linemen are shifting. And this is what I call fire eye splits, depending on which side you're going to. What you're going to do is fire your linemen across 2 gaps, and your linebackers are going to sit patiently behind that so that if anything's cut back, they're there for it. So that's what you have now is Janelle Aguero. You have C.J. Allen in space right now guarding hook curls. You got Raylan Wilson playing like a defensive end trying to get off the blitz. And, you know, I talked about that F-back being terrible at pass pro. He looked god-awful at pass pro. But, you know, he's blocking Raylan like it's nobody's business. C.J. comes late. The only thing I see here is in Jalen's form, I'm thinking to myself, you've got inside leverage help, and you're basically, and to an extent, you're locked on him man. You have phased into a man position here. That you've got your sideline to help you is that I don't understand why he doesn't have more of his body more on the numbers than he does where they're at right now, because there's no leverage for him to do what he does right here, which is to basically have to do a complete 180 to get back in phase. And I know they work on that. That's a defensive back technique when you've got somebody squeezed, they're about to break your cushion, and they cut that route off. And there's no way you can stick your right foot in the ground and close on that unless you're just unbelievable athlete. And I'm not giving anything past Dalen right here, but it's probably the best technique ever, because putting your foot in the ground and doing the 180, I think, is going to get you there quicker. But, Brock Vandagriff throws a great ball right here, and the only person that can catch this is Berrien. So, the only thing I'd say out of this situation is I'd love to see Dalen maybe with his butt more at the numbers. So that way, if he does stay on the vert, he's in good shape to react to it. If he does run the skinny post or run more of the post, he's got KJ to help, because KJ is working over the top of what Malachi's bracketing. And that way, when he puts his foot in the ground, now you don't have as much ground to cover when you do the 180 kick off of this. But this is just a good receiver running a good route out of the route tree. Good play action right here, and Brock delivering a C to his receiver. You just got to give him credit for it right here. Guys, this is something I hope that we're working on, and I know that they're giving him probably a little extra work this week, but, receivers can take advantage of a corner anytime in zone, and you can barely see it on my screen on the left hand side, but you see it's again this same route where you've got the receiver pushing and stemming to the inside to influence the corner to make him think he's on a skinny or on a post route. But typically what a receiver is doing in zone to do that, to push and stem your inside shoulder, is to make a cut out. And you can see again right here, we have gone from a cover 4 shell look down to a cover 3, and how I know that is because Malachi is coming downhill, so he's going to end up being sort of your force flat defender here, while you've got CJ adjusting to the tight end coming out of the delay right here. And it's just a very simple defense concept right here. You've got Malachi as the force flat defender, so he tries to throw it over the top. Brock doesn't see him till late off the cut because he knows where he wants to go. But again, you're putting Dalen in that really bad shape as in a zone where you're making him have to put his foot in the ground and do a 180, and he just can't close fast enough to get there. So I'm not saying that Dalen's doing anything wrong in his zone concept. I like where he's at, where his hips are, everything's good, his cushion looks good. The only thing I think is that when he gets stemmed like that, he can still be in good shape with his feet on the numbers. So I don't know why he's allowing them to get so far inside on his shoulder to where he has to put his foot in the ground to do a 180. If he's in better shape right there and sitting on the left-hand side, say his butt's on the numbers right now instead of where he's at, when he makes that out cut, now that 180 puts him in a lot better shape to get to that ball. And a lot of teams will do this to corners that run this type of coverage in zone. So again, you got another good throw and catch right here. Luckily, in this case scenario, Malachi's in the way to have to make him throw it over him. I think he gets a little bit of it, and then Dalen actually almost gets to carry him out of bounds right here on the interception. But still, not a bad job of disguising the covers to cover 3. You don't see this very often, but I know it's 3rd and 20, and obviously we're playing a little safe here. But even 3rd and 20, you can still be aggressive on defense. And I feel like right here we kind of just got handled, even though we only got about a 6-7 yard gain. But this is basically quarterback ISO. Your running back becomes off the fake the fullback, and your quarterback's the tailback. So what you're going to have at the point of impact is typically what lines up over the guard as a 3 technique. So the guard and tackle are going to double 11 and drive him towards CJ. Center would step out and get the backside backer. Everybody else is going to be blocking man on, so you're going to have 84 step out on 93. And I'm telling you, TID had a good night, and I talked how poorly about 84 being a blocker against South Carolina, man, but he looked like a different kid out there. But he's holding up TID. TID and him are just sitting there hand battling. Raylan's going to have to come up and take on the F back. You're going to see an explosion. No, he's going to catch him. And, Jalen's getting moved out of there on the double team. They got to be, to me, I don't know what's taught here, but, as many times as you're going to be at the line of scrimmage, I mean, like right there, you're basically, even though you're stood up as a linebacker, you're a 3 technique. You got to learn to take on a double team and go submarine through that gap right there and lay down and make them fall down on top of you and create a big fat body pile. That way you're not being driven out and you don't have that hole that Zero's running through right there. But we got to learn to, when we take on a double team, to engage it and split it, not run around it like we're doing. And all you're going to do when you're trying to get around it is you're just going to get driven out. CJ's fighting with the center, not getting off of it. So you got just a real passive play here. So it's like somebody make the tackle so we can get the ball back. But, I mean, those extra yards right there are big, even though he doesn't get the first down on the conversion here. But, I mean, if you look, where's the line of scrimmage at? I mean, you're looking at the They're on the plus 44, 43 right here, I believe. And so that's that's the difference of 17 yards. I mean, you're looking at a 60-yard field goal at this point, but then he runs it up in there and he gets a pretty good amount of chunk of change right there. So he almost gets 10 yards on this run, and that puts them in better field goal position right here, I think, for their first score. So, it's just really just the difference, and I'm hoping that they talked about this a little bit. But when you got TID hand fighting, you got it looks like Nazir hand fighting. Damon comes up and just sort of lackluster as well on the left side. CJ's, hand fighting with a guard. Jalen Walker is being double teamed out, and Raylan just goes up and passively lays on the F back. Nothing aggressive. No heads being bowed back on this right here, and he's able to stick it up in there and get positive yardage that puts him in better field goal territory right there before we get our extra run support from the safety position. So, it's a big deal when these yards may not seem like, well, they didn't get the first down. Well, yeah, they got almost 10 yards that put them in better field goal range. I really want to show you this clip more for what this offensive lineman does more than the actual play itself. This is just a fast screen out right, so this is just rabbit out to the right side with your primary Y over the top stack is blocking off zone action. And we get to the ball. Janelle Aguero makes the play right here. But I want you to watch 73 at backside left guard. He goes straight out like he's zone blocking, and then he gets out on it, and he launches himself at KJ Bolden. I want you to watch right there. He is completely in midair like Superman, diving with his helmet down, trying to basically spear KJ Bolden. And because Four's an athlete, and that's a big fat pile of pudding jumping at him right there, KJ's able to get off of that and not make that look any worse than what it is right there. But if he stays where he's at and he's planted, how in the world is that not a penalty on the offense doing something like that? That's just plain Bush League crap right there. And that to me is what Kentucky is all about, man. It's just little things like that is just so Bush League with them. But still, nonetheless, there's fighting, there's goring, there's bulldogging, there's, all sorts of things going on both sides. I'm not going to bitch and complain about everything because it's equally done on both sides. But that right there to me is just really Bush League on KJ. So I want you to watch it in full speed. Watch him dive out and try to hit KJ right in the back. Bush League, man. I don't know what we're doing. We're on the short side of the field, and I don't know if they have a technique for the corner to the short side of the field, but I know if you're running a one-man situation right here, which is what we're in, everybody's manned up. You've got one free safety in the middle of the field, which is Malachi. You got KJ on the tight end. You've got your nickel should be on number 2. Humphreys is over actually on the other side. And because of the way they've moved a back out, because it's empty, I see now, that's the reason why you got a linebacker out wide. I see Smile out there wide on his guy. So we're in a man here, and Malachi's free over the top. But, when you're on the short side of the field, I don't understand. I'm watching Jalen come out of this cut right here, and I don't really understand why he is allowing inside leverage. That's one of the things you don't want to give up in man-to-man. And, allowing the quick slant here. But, looking at his position of where he's at coming out of the break right there, I really think that we've got, an issue with his leverage. And that's something that, he's got to get fixed. Because you don't want that inside cut when you're playing man, especially on the short side of the field, because that's an easy throw and catch to your guy on the slant route right there. So something he's going to have to get better on is get that inside leverage and not allow that reception. You want to create a big hole on a zone run through, you forget to run your X stunt jack. And I mean that by the jack backer right here. Based off the way that the front is moving to our left, their right, that's the way Damon's coming across and slaughtering 84 right there and making him his little bitch. The way I see it, the reason why this gap's not there is Chaz Shamlish should be Xing off of this and coming back inside, but he comes back inside way too late. He's engaged by 73 on his X stun, and now he's screwed. And that's when this is gap integrity, when the gap's broken because you have one guy and forget to X. That's the reason why you get a hole that looks like this right here. Okay, so that's something that's got to get fixed. If we're going to run these kind of loops, and it's based off the way the front's moving. The way the front is moving, all gaps are good as long as that X comes back around into a gap right there. But because Chaz gets caught up in the wash, he doesn't get a chance to actually get back down inside off the X stun, and that's the reason why you got a hole right there, and the reason why we probably saw some of these gashes on the zones. This is Q Power Read. They ran this against South Carolina, and this time Brock reads it like a champ. We're reading the end man on line of scrimmage, which is JJA, Joseph Jonah Jonier, on the edge here, lined up basically like a wide 5 technique, or if you want to call that, it's really a 7 technique on the 84, because you have to treat him like a tight end. But what 84 is going to do is step an arc block and get out to the hole defender, which is KJ, and they're going to read JJA. They're not going to block him. So what Brock's reading right here is what 99 does. Now, the front is blocking it like power. Notice the guard's pulling, okay? As the guard pulls, he's going to block it like power. He don't care about 99 either. He's going to get up inside to the play side backer or whoever's flowing over the top right here. Brock is reading 99, and what he's going to do is if 99 were to actually chase 0, okay, and get out wide like he's trying to tackle the jetback taking off, all right, what Brock's going to do is pull that at the last second and follow his guard up into the hole. That's why it's called QB Power Read. But instead, you've got rocket action here. He's going to hand it off because JJA makes him hand it off because of the read right here. Now you've got jet action sweep, and now they've got it blocked. You got the whole player blocked in KJ. You've got the wide man blocked. Corners being ran off by the outside receiver. All you got left is your free safety coming downhill, and thank God we've got him. He's got to take on 0 and get across his face, but we got to get off blocks, man. I'm so tired of watching us continue to be blocked just to try to maintain gap integrity. Somebody's eventually got to get off the block and try to make a tackle right here, but you know, still defensively, we're bending, not breaking, but still good read by Brock on the jet sweep and not pulling it to run power. Okay, here they're running power Q to the left out of a tight and a wing, bringing the jet motion across. So we're reading the jet. So again, he's reading TID. This is a great job by TID right here. TID is the read guide, just like Joseph Jonier was in the previous one. So you got the 2 guys going out to block the wide support. So if he does hand it on the jet, which I think he should have, again, we get a chance for Brock to not read it correctly. Because if you see where TID's at, he should be giving that ball. There's no reason why he should be keeping this. So not only does TID, he's unblocked. They're reading him. So that's the reason why you see the guy pulling 52 is not even trying to block him. He's trying to get up to Jalen. So it leaves TID unblocked. So just a good job by TID of being disciplined here to be able to sit and read, step down in the gap, and then when Brock pulls it, he's stupid. He just basically pulls it and runs right into TID, who's the read key right here. He didn't read it right against South Carolina, and here he does again. He doesn't read it here. I'm sure in the film room he's going to be smacking his forehead, going, "I should have gave it right there." Even though Chambliss has kind of got 85 bubbled right there, I think if he hands it off, he goes underneath that block, and he's, 84's got CJ Allen sealed. He's got to play. So again, it's just one of those things where you just go scratching your head. Why, Brock? Why'd you pull that right there? Because you're running it right into a guy that you're not blocking, and TID makes you pay. Guys, this is a 3rd and 7 play, and they're going to be running a mesh out of trips 3x2 empty. And this is what, to me, it's so hard as you're a quarterback reading this. You see all those linebackers in the nickel running with all these guys man. You end up getting a cluster right in the middle of the field. So you could call offensive pass interference. You could call defensive pass interference right there. It just creates a bunch of rub routes to hopefully eventually get the one guy open he wants to throw to. But luckily, we stay zoned to the play side, the wide side of the field for the mesh. So we've got a lot of guys chasing in man, but we also have zone defenders waiting to make the tackle. So that's the beauty of running mesh against zone. If you have a zone defender, you basically run him right into the zone defender, and Julio does his job by coming up and taking on this guy off the rub and come up and make a tackle right here. I love this right here. This is a cover 4 match, and it ends up looking like almost kind of a 2 trap because you have flat defenders you're not expecting, and you've got linebackers in coverage to take care of the inside route. You got verticals over the top. So what you see right here is it's going to look like cover 4 across the board to start with. You got Dalen, you got Malachi and KJ in coverage or over the top, and then of course Humphreys is off screen to your left. But what you're going to see right here is Smile on the snap. He's going to basically take the inside receiver and make sure he leverages. Damon's going to try to knock him off his path. He's the flat defender. Malachi's got to take number 2 wherever he goes. But he's in great leverage with him if he runs out. If he comes inside, he's on his hip. You got a vertical over the top that you're in good shape with. Notice on the other side, KJ's going to come down and do the same thing that Smile's doing on the other side, trapping the number 2. So you see he's making a dig cut, so he's got to get on his hip and get across him, and you'll notice he still has Malachi over the top of him. he knows he's got that support. Humphreys is probably doing the same thing on the left side of what you see Dalen Everett doing on this side, working vertical to whoever's out there wide. Let me see who we got here, because if we got 2 and 1 with the backs, I mean, yeah, there's somebody's that Humphreys has been pulled out wide at the numbers, but he's not even looking that way. But just a genius thing to do right here is to bracket in that triangle right there, those 2 receivers. The only person I could see him maybe going to is KJ's guy, but KJ's doing a great job of being on the hip too. This is he has nowhere to go with the football, hence why he's trying to run with it. And this is a great job by TID and Shamlis getting off of it with a hustle and getting to Brock so he has nowhere to throw the football. It's a great hustle by the D. Now, these were some of the run plays that were making Georgia fans pull their hair out, but you'll notice that basically the point of attack is Raylan Wilson, Janelle Aguero, KJ Bolton. 3 guys that are still trying to prove themselves. They're out there. KJ's, true freshman, man. Janelle Aguero is finally getting his first playing time this year. And you're going to notice they run this tight, nasty split right here where you have the H off, the tight end on, but it's kind of an orthodox look right here with just rip motion across. And they're just going to run zone out of this. But they're blocking it like duo, which is like an ISO concept, because I see the double team right there from 73 and 69. So they're ISO blocking the outside. 84's got Raylan off the line of scrimmage. Raylan off the line of scrimmage. 85's got to block Janelle. And then, we got guys to come up and force support that right there. So it's one-on-one, and you make your guy miss. Now, the first thing you want to see is Raylan, just kind of just staying on his block. I talked about how good of a job he did against Clemson, but, this is just, your brother-in-law with him right here. I don't know why you're not trying to get off of that. You got to punch and press that, separate yourself, and get off that freaking block. Shed the block, man. Janelle, you're running too much of a hoop. You're trying to get around him like a defensive end rushing to the quarterback. This is not a pass situation. He's running the football. You've got to attack where his 8 is right now and drive him backwards instead of running that natural loop. When you run that natural loop, you create that hole. See how big that hole is because you ran a loop around him? And now, KJ, you got to be an athlete, and you got to break down. And guess what? You got a running back who's pretty good here, and he's going to make you miss. So it comes down to it. You've got 3 youngins trying to make a play, and they all 3 do just enough wrong to where you turn just a base run play into something just a little bit better, and it's driving us nuts because Raylan brother-in-law's on 84, Janelle runs the hoop, and KJ misses the tackle. They're about to run ghost power left where you have your guard and your H-back pull. And when I watch the linebackers, we're on a fire blitz right here. We're basically set up in a true 3-4. We have true 3-down linemen and 0 techniques and 4 eyes, and your linebackers are sitting in 20 techniques and 30 techniques respectively. So Damon Wilson is doing his job right here. He's got a down block, so he's going to come up and flathead the first puller. And really the guard, I don't know why the guard's wrapping. He should actually be hitting Damon. So what happens is they kind of switch spots. The guard ends up wrapping. The backside guy's the one that ends up hitting Damon on this. But the reason why he's able to bounce this is because we have a fire blitz on by both our inside backers. If our inside backers are reading this and seeing the down, they should be fitting right off the down. Smiles' track is really good right out of the gate. But I notice on the backside, CJ's gone because he's firing through the gap. He's got a blitz on right here through B. And I don't know if this is something they call off the pull to shoot through that gap and maybe catch it from the backside, but you're going to get caught up in the wash just like he does right here. 54 does a great job of getting his head across into that gap because he don't care about Kristen Miller. Kristen Miller is not going to chase it down from the backside. So you've lost CJ at linebacker level to be fitting over the top of the double team, just like Jalen got destroyed earlier in the game with that triple team that was on Nazir Stackhouse. And now we have nobody, once he bounces, we have nobody for that except the safety. And what has to come up is Dalen Everett making a textbook form tackle and knocking the ball loose right here. And this is one thing, the reason why you see Dalen Everett on the field, even though a lot of you question his ability to cover. He's a hell of a tackler, and he's going to get better with his cover skills continually if you just give him time with it. But they just had a good call right here to what we had in the hole. But I'm still not understanding if Smile's not on a blitz right here and he's reading this, he should be fitting, bouncing that outside, because Damon should be doing his job to spill so that he can fit outside instead of inside. But he sticks his head up inside like he's on a blitz run there late as the ball snaps. So I don't know if it's the difference of where he's reading and it's just a poor read fit, or if he actually is blitzing, but he's blitzing later in the process. But sticking your head in there when you've already got an end who's taking on the guard kicking you out and you're squeezing it down a gap, to make it bounce, you got to have somebody for the bounce. So, I guess this is just a good call to what we had called on defense at that point in time. Not good for the guys with the red hats. Good tackle, Dalen. I would run ghost power. I would run counter tray away from the strong side to the, in this case, they running it to the boundary, but running away from the strength until they make this play, because we have a guy coming off the edge in Chaz Shamlis who knows how to blow up and flat-head a guard on pull. Because what we got here is ghost power again, guard H pulling. Got the wide motion to remove Dalen Everett. But, the fit off of this, if you're going to do it right, which it's still right here, that's not a good job by their guard just ducking his head. That's just god-awful right there by him. 70, my Lord, dude. But, get in the way slowly, I guess. But he blows it up to make the H-back have to bubble. So CJ has got to be smart enough to realize you've got to fit off of this outside. If he does it correctly, you should fit right off of that and get downhill to it. But he doesn't. He sits right over the top of Shamlis thinking he's going to get the cutback. Well, guess who should have the cutback? Your other linebacker who's being blocked right now in the hole. Smiles got to be able to read that guard pull and fit over the top of that a little bit quicker and not get engaged with that guy and be fitting inside while CJ's fitting outside, because, believe it or not, right here, Chaz Shamlis does his job. That's exactly what you want to do to power, is bounce it like that right there. But CJ's too late. 84 is able to get up and reach him a little bit, and now he's bounced it outside for some yardage. So, I don't know. It seems to me that if you can get the play side backer at least just stalled a little bit on counter tray and on power, you have success against Georgia, because it looks like you get the edge because we don't get over the top of it and fit it right. I didn't notice this till I actually broke this down in slow-mo, but Kentucky takes a page out of South Carolina's book and runs a play that South Carolina scored a touchdown on us. I'll say on us, on Kentucky, when I was breaking down Kentucky's offense, where they actually bring the F-back across like zone. They're going to crunch down and block off the edge. In South Carolina's defense, what they did is they had an extra guy there already instead of bringing him down to actually load on the end there and crack, so that you can boot out of this and get outside the pocket, which to me is Kentucky's forte. This is perfect, because if all three levels are covered up, he can run with a football. We've got pretty good coverage into this. We're basically matching on this. We've got a guy for the flat. I really do think that, Janelle Aguero is probably a little too tight since he's got somebody on the flat defender. He should be gaining a little more depth, something he'll learn, because if he's got a little more depth, I think he either tips this ball or picks it, one or the other. You can see how close he was to it. But here's 12 putting the ball on the money. He didn't even come close to doing this. He didn't even hardly have a pulse against South Carolina, but yet he's throwing BBs out here, because now you're layering the defense. You've got a guy in the flat, you got a guy on the intermediate out, and you got somebody on a vert, whether he's running a corner, just straight 9, or a post. You've got all three levels stratted, and you find where the honey hole is, and typically the honey hole is the intermediate out route. And right here we've got good defense on it, but he just throws something there in the mailbox between our hole defender and between the strong safety who's trying to close to get to the ball. So here 12's doing his job and doing a good job out of it, but they pulled this out of South Carolina's playbook and run it.